Hey, welcome to the Business Beauty Network podcast, where business meets beauty. Welcome. I am super excited to bring a new episode to you today. But before we get into that, make sure that you're subscribed to the Business Beauty Network podcast, wherever you're listening. And don't forget to share it. Sharing is caring. So if you know someone who would benefit from this awesome content, share it out. Also connect with us on YouTube at Business Beauty Network, Facebook at Business Beauty Network, and Instagram as well. You connect with us, follow us there. We would love to hear from you. Share your favorite episodes. You can also email us at hello@businessbeautynetwork.com, and you can visit our website at businessbeautynetwork.com. You can check out our YouTube channel there, listen to your episodes that you may have missed, and connect with us, subscribe to our newsletter, as well as make a donation of any amount. And to help us celebrate, make sure that you leave us a 5-star review today. Today is National Podcast Day, so we're still celebrating 5 years. We hit our 5-year milestone this year, and we're still celebrating. It's National Podcast Day, so you can help us by leaving us a review or sharing the Business Beauty Network podcast, or even leaving a donation of any amount on the website. So all of that can be done at businessbeautynetwork.com. All of the links will be in the show notes, so make sure you check all of that out. Now that all of that is out of the way, I had an awesome conversation with Hollie K. Hollie is no stranger to the Business Beauty Network podcast. She had a segment on here before, Beauty News. You could go back to listen to the Beauty News with Hollie K, but she would share her different tips and beauty news with us. So it was just really awesome connecting with Hollie and really finding out what's been going on with her. Hollie K is a passionate makeup artist, and her passion was sparked in 2015, and this led to her obtaining her license in skincare in 2018. And as an esthetician instructor, she was able to merge her passion for beauty in the industry of over 15 years as an educator. So she's educating, she's doing awesome things within the industry. She's a phenomenal makeup artist, and she has a wealth of knowledge. I think you're really going to enjoy this interview, and here it goes. Hey, welcome to the podcast. It is your host, Brandy Taylor. We have an awesome guest today, Hollie K. Welcome, Hollie.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here and speak with you and catch up.
Oh, awesome. I'm excited to have you. So, Hollie, you're no stranger to the Business Beauty Network podcast. We haven't had you on in a while, but welcome. Tell us, how are you? How's everything been going?
I am doing great. I'm very grateful. I try to always walk around with a spirit of gratefulness because I know being able to do what we are able to do isn't something everybody gets to do. But everything's been going good. I've been able to grow as an artist and kind of expand my business to use the education degree I have as well, but now use it within the beauty industry. So everything's going good.
Awesome. So, Hollie, you're going to have to give us some more details than that now. Now, I would say you've been doing a variety of work with Disney and all types of things, and you've been on sets. So kind of share some of the experiences you've had and some of the things you've done to expand your makeup artistry business.
Yeah, absolutely. So I live in the Central Florida area. And of course, we know that's Disney World, literally everything Disney is here. So I've been blessed to kind of get into the production field of beauty, and I absolutely love it. I know it's not for everybody, just like, there's different aspects of this industry, but I absolutely love production. I love the long days. And so with that, I've been able to do a lot with Disney. I'm not hired with Disney. That's one thing a lot of people get confused with, but I am an independent contractor. So that means that I get to go in when they have special events or special shows or tapings that they're having here, like their Christmas specials, when they do their commercials that you'll see not only just in the state of Florida, but internationally as well. So that's been an honor to do that. And I do get to work with some different celebs that come in that are either in some type of movie or concert or something that they're doing with Disney. So that's pretty cool as well. So I get to have that experience working with celebrity clientele. I also, because of that, it's helped me learn how to be, I think, more professional. I've learned how you should carry yourself when you're on a set, things you should and should not do. And it doesn't necessarily come from mistakes I made, but just being very observant. And so through that, I try to share that with others who are interested in this industry And just being honest, especially for people who are women or men of color, because I don't see a lot of us. That's unfortunate. I know they're trying to change that, but here in the industry here, I don't see a lot of us. So I would like to see that change as well.
Awesome. Now, how did you secure like some of those types of opportunities?
I saw a fellow esthetician. Her name and some credits for the Disney Christmas special. Like, hey, you don't have to tell me because some people like to gatekeep, unfortunately, but she was not one of those type of people. And I asked her how did she get the opportunity. And so, in order to get the opportunity here, they have people who are preferred vendors. And so, if they are preferred vendor, you go through their company because Disney has some very strict requirements to get in and be working with them consistently like that. So that was my way in. Through that, I've been able to kind of network and talk to different maybe managers of different talents, agencies, and that's how I've started kind of building my name and my reputation with them. But honestly, it is networking. You have to speak up and ask somebody. You hear it all the time. It's who you know, but there is truth to that. You obviously need to have the skill sets and the right personality and attitude to do it, but knowing the right people, honestly.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing that because I know sometimes people wonder, like, how do you get these opportunities? And it's just networking. Like, you saw someone that you knew that was a part of it and you asked, and she could have said no, but she was kind enough to
Yes,
give you the information. So you just never know until you ask, right?
absolutely. I completely agree.
Yeah, so I think that is phenomenal. So I know you have multiple streams. You're educating and doing other things as well. So in addition to that, like share some of those things that you're doing for as the education piece and how you're doing like all of the multiple things you do with your makeup artistry career.
Yes, absolutely. So, for those who don't know, my background is in education. So, at this point, I probably have over 14 years of experience in education. And once I left traditional teaching, I thought I was done. You can't pull me back into the classroom at all. But it comes naturally to me, and I do enjoy it. And so, I got started educating in the beauty industry by becoming a lead educator at an aesthetic school. And that director really pushed and stretched me beyond the limits that thought I had. So I was able to develop curriculum and syllabus and all of that. So since I've left that structure of the school, I've noticed, especially in the state of Florida, that the requirements to become an educator are different compared to other states. And we all know the requirements for obtaining your license and hours and things are different. But there is a large gap when it comes to classroom management here in the state of Florida. So that has been my goal, trying to make sure educators feel empowered, that they feel confident going into the classroom, because they might have that skill set when it comes to doing hair or doing facials and waxing and things like that, but they don't feel empowered when they're in front of the students because they're lacking the classroom management piece. So that's what I've been really working on, making sure I provide tools for them going into the school. I'm trying to grow that more, but going into the schools, providing professional development for them. And then also for those who are coming into the industry, making sure I provide environments where they feel that there is no competition, that we are really here to support one another. And so I do that through different networking events, just something for everybody to get together, even if they're students, so they can already come out into the industry feeling like they know somebody and they have those positive connections.
I think that is awesome. So you're helping people that want to get into education as well as people who are getting into artistry too.
Mhm. Yes, yes, that's really my goal. You just hear, I feel like not as much, but it still exists. How people put that negative connotation on our industry, saying everybody's catty and nobody wants to help. And yes, those people exist, but they exist in any career field. So my goal is making sure that their introduction to it, if I can, or if they've had a negative introduction, let's turn that around. But that they have a positive experience and that they want to stay in the industry. A lot of times people don't make it past 3 years when they first start. And we know that could be a lot of different contributing factors. But if anything, I want them at least to, before you leave, if you were able to be exposed to me, that you had, the tools that you need to be successful, the people around you, the community around you that'll help you feel like you can stay in this industry because it is beautiful. I absolutely love it.
Definitely, I do too. It keeps pulling me back. I try to get out of it, but it keeps pulling me.
You
Yeah.
stuck. You stuck.
Right, right. I think that is great that you're helping, fellow artists in the industry, and it's keeping them in the industry because it can be
Mhm.
hard. As we know, especially like makeup artists is different from here. Like I feel like sometimes it can be hard to build your career or
Yes.
hard to get clients consistently or to figure out like how can I consistently do this on a regular basis. And I talk to so many people who maybe they've, gone back to regular jobs or they're only doing it every now and then or feel like they're going to leave because they haven't just been able to make it a consistent thing. What advice would you give those people?
I love that you brought that up because that needs to be talked about more, the reality of it. One thing I would say is if you have to get what we consider a regular job, something part-time to fill in, don't feel bad about that. You are not a failure. That doesn't make you less of a success or mean that you can't continue in this industry. You have to make the decisions and moves that are best for you and if you have a family or whatever at that time. So if you have to get a part-time job or do something else, and then what you would like, which is being an artist, for that to become your main thing, maybe that has to be then flip and be your part-time. That is okay. So that's the one thing I would tell people. The other thing is to also realize that everybody shows their highlights on social media because I don't care how long you've been doing this, we all still turn to that and we look at what everybody else is doing and we just compare ourselves, even if it's unconsciously. And then once that seed is planted, it just stays there and it continues to grow. So you have to do, I like to call them come to Jesus meetings, but with yourself. And that check in with yourself to just make sure you're in the right space mentally so that you're not comparing yourself to someone else. But understand there'll be highs, there'll be lows. There are periods of time where things are going to be, you'll be getting work consistently and then it gets quiet. And you just can't take that on personally. That's a part of the industry, and there are some
Mhm.
people who have something going all the time. But that was one thing I had to learn. When you come from a traditional background of working in somewhere where you consistently have that paycheck, you're going to consistently show up to work, even if you don't want to, that money's coming in. Whereas now it's on you. So, if you don't work, you're not getting paid. So that means then also look into what other things do you have to offer? Get creative. A lot
Mhm.
of times you have the skill set you already need. That was one of the biggest lessons I learned over this past year. I kept saying, I want to expand, I want to do more, I want to grow. And I just kept hearing God say, use what you have, use what you have. And I
Right.
was hard headed. And I'm like, use what I have. And the one thing I have is education, right? And I'm like, I don't want to do anything with that. But I was like, let's tap into and think about what people are always asking me. They're always asking me, how do you do your makeup? How do you do this? Okay, you enjoy teaching, you're in the beauty industry. Why don't you merge those two things together? But that took me getting rid of that pride, humbling myself, and looking at what other skills I have. So there are ways to fill in those gaps when you feel like you're not out physically working. That would be my other piece of advice. Look at what other skills you have and how you can kind of use those to your advantage.
Hmm. I love that. And as well as, having multiple streams, like you were teaching and doing your makeup and doing a variety of things. And it's important to do that. And like you said, you can tap into other skills or find other things that you could do staying within the industry. So there's
Mm-hmm.
other things like I used to work for different cosmetic companies. And so I would work
Yes.
freelance for different cosmetic companies. And that way I didn't have to have like a full-time schedule. It was flexible. I could, work at
Yep.
my availability, but then I still had money coming in and then I was still in beauty because I'm still doing makeup. I'm still in that world and I can
Yes.
still do my career. So, or maybe even getting a brand partnership where you're,
Yes.
working with a brand. There's so many different things that you can do, and even if it's outside of beauty, but it suits you and it's another skill that you have, don't be afraid to tap
Mm-hmm.
into that as well. So I love that for sure. But understanding that everybody isn't doing it consistently and it's okay if you're not.
Right.
Just just sometimes you have to have something else to fund your dream until your dream can fund everything, right?
Absolutely. And I would say also enjoy those periods of being quiet and being still because then you start going and you're going, and then you're praying for those moments. So in those moments, and that was the thing I had to learn too. I feel like if I'm not always doing something, if I'm not always posting, I'm not working or I'm not successful. That's not the case. So I've had to learn to be still and be quiet. And in those moments, that's usually when I get my best ideas. Because when you're going so much, it's hard to concentrate or focus and try to develop other ideas you've had because you have to put your focus elsewhere. So enjoy those quiet and still moments because they become rare. So yeah, I love them. When I shut down, that's it. You're not gonna get a hold of me because I've learned to just enjoy those moments.
Right. So let's talk about like beauty, because when you were on a podcast, you did beauty news and you share what's going on. So there's a lot, like it's that time of year where there's a lot of launches, there's a lot going on. Do you keep up with that still, Hollie?
I try, probably not as much as I used to, but I do try. I do notice, I feel like what I have seen lately, and I can say that I've paid attention. I feel like when one new thing drops, every brand is going to drop their version of it. And I feel like in comparison to maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, that it used to happen. So I feel like if somebody's going to drop a skin tint, everybody's about to drop a skin tint.
Oh, okay.
The
Yeah.
latest thing I feel like is the different types of pressed powders that are different shades. Everybody's dropping that. So right now we're in the powder phase. We just saw
Yep.
it. Makeup by Mario has released a loose powder. I think it's Kosas. They have a different press
Hourglass.
one. So everybody's in the powder phase
Mhm.
right now. So that's the one thing I will say I have noticed.
Yep, yep. So, okay, first of all, before we even get into powders, because they are releasing the powders, the darn what is it? The glow drops. Drunk Elephant came out
Yes.
with it first.
Yes.
The drops, right? So the drops, now everybody has a drop.
Yes.
Elf has the drops. Everybody has some type of glow drop that you
Yes.
can glow with, right? So that's the trend. And then you already said skin tint. If one more skin tint comes out, but then in the powders, the blushes though, the liquid blushes, everybody got a
Blush
blush.
got out of control. The blush
Blush.
wave was wild.
And they're still coming. Like Hourglass just dropped a new blush.
Hmm.
Um, YSL just dropped a new blush. So they're still coming.
Yes. But I'm here for it. I do love blush. And everybody got into this for a couple of months. It was like people have blush blindness because people were putting on too much. Like, you know what, honey, let people live their best lives. They giving us all this blush. We're going to use it.
Right, right. Well, remember all the highlighter in 2016, right?
Yes.
we still use it, but we've toned down the highlighter a bit, but now we're very blushy and glowy. But
Yes.
I think they're getting back to more matte foundations. Now it looks like some
Hmm.
foundation launches. People are coming out with like this whole soft matte thing. And
Yes.
I'm really loving the foundations I'm loving right now. I'm loving that Fenty new hydrating one.
Okay.
That one, the Fenty new hydrating one is really nice. I actually like the new Too Faced one as well.
Okay. I haven't
Too
tried that
Faced has
one.
a new one, a new soft matte. And then, so there's a lot of foundations out. And I tried
Yeah.
the Patrick Ty new
Okay.
foundation. It's real glowy. And I felt like it was more like a skin tint for me.
Yes. Yeah.
Like it was like
And
more
I
like a skin tint for me.
Yeah, I think it depends where you live too, because when you think of it from a perspective of for yourself, obviously we can play around. But if I'm thinking of clients and I'm in Florida, I'm sorry, I can't put that on you. We already gonna be a little bit glowy. How majority of our year is summer weather, unfortunately. So you just have to. That's something you have to consider as well. I do want to try the new one size foundation that's going to be coming out. I saw Patrick Star is releasing
Okay.
that, and it's supposed to be more of a full coverage. So I am curious about that because I am just a Patrick Star fan, and I just genuinely love his
Awesome.
products. A lot of the other brands too as well. So I'm curious about that foundation because when it comes to foundations, I'm just like I'm gonna stick to what I know and what I like. I love Makeup Forever foundations for myself as well as for clients. I feel like they
Mm-hmm.
give a nice coverage, not too matte, but I can, adjust it to what I like. But the one size what I think is supposed to be more is full coverage and I think a little bit more matte. I can't recall, but I'm excited
Have
about
you?
that one.
Oh, awesome. Have you tried any of Danessa's products, new products at all?
You know
Myrick's.
I love me some Danessa. I love me some Danessa. Yes. If I could have a kit full of Danessa Myrick's, you know, Danessa, are you listening to us? We
Right.
both want a kit full of your
I
stuff.
really like the new concealer. So it's lightweight, but it gives the coverage, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And you only need a little bit
Yes.
of that one. And I'm getting to the point where like less is more for me. Like, so I'm like wearing
Right.
less makeup. And I'm loving that one, the new concealer that
Yeah.
she came out with. Now everybody really like that blurring balm. I have really
I
dry
love
skin, so it
it.
wasn't necessarily for me. You like it?
Ah, gotcha. I like it, and especially for male grooming, I won't grab anything else. I'll use it because it's still light. It's
I can
very
see
skin light,
that.
but I like the hydrating primer that she has. Is similar to the Blurring Balm. I do use that for myself in the areas I get a little bit drier, but it plays so well with
Oh,
other brands, so that's why I really, really like it.
yeah, and I can see it. Some of her stuff, I felt like if I was still doing makeup, yeah, you know what I mean. But for like me,
Mm-hmm.
for every day, it's not
Yeah.
necessarily the product I would use. For yeah, but her skin tint is nice too, though.
Yes, it is. I love her stuff, and I'm in the less is more type face too. So even if it looks like I have a full face on, it's still less. And so I think I've been mastering doing the less is more, but still achieving that full kind of look of everything. And I love it because I just don't want to feel heavy. That's my
Me
goal.
neither. Me neither. I don't want to feel heavy anymore. All about the skin, and so that's leads us right into like skincare. What's like?
Hmm.
What do you think is trending skincare? We're going into the fall, and see, you don't get the dramatic changes that we
Yeah,
get, but you know, we're going into the
I
fall.
know.
I like the fall, but the fall is one of my favorite seasons. But then it's so short, and then next thing you know,
Hmm.
it's going to be freezing cold. So that's the
Yes.
only thing. But I'm excited about fall weather, but any since you're the skincare expert, like any tips or anything that you're loving right now?
Tips I would say, depending of course where you live, if you are somewhere where that weather is changing, pay attention to your skin and know that you do have to adjust your products when the seasons change. As it gets colder, your skin's probably going to feel a bit more drier. So that doesn't necessarily mean your skin type has changed. It's just the conditions that you're experiencing. So you might have to consider a heavier moisturizer, using that eye cream for sure to make sure you're protecting, creating a barrier and hydrating, keep your skin hydrated. um, as far as like some, I know you mentioned trends and things like that too. I still feel like the Korean beauty is the biggest thing, but
Yeah.
when it comes to seeing a professional, or this would be a trend I would say I don't want to see individuals doing, but a professional, the dermaplaning of your own skin, please stop. Please,
Yeah.
the little eyebrow blades. I'm just seeing people continue to do that. And the reason I mention that is
Yes.
because as we go into the colder seasons, that's when everybody starts considering doing the peels and taking care of your skin because it's more downtime, less sun exposure. So get with a professional who is you've seen their work and that they know what they're doing, because that's the time to do it. The other thing I'm excited about is continuing to see the different types of peels that don't cause you to actually shed your skin. So, like the bio repeal that started getting a little popularity last year. I think it calmed down for the summer, but I think we'll be seeing more of that in other brands who have something similar to that as we go into this fall and winter season. So, this is the time to tap into that. But again, check those professionals, their credentials, and what they're doing, because I feel like we also saw a lot of horror stories this past season,
Mhm.
unfortunately, as well, when it came to peels, especially for people of color who have a darker skin. But that's for anybody. You do have to protect your skin. So I think this is the time to really just kind of cater to your skin more, and also building that self-care routine at home. Carve out a little bit of that time, do a little mask maybe once a week, or just shut the door from the kids and the spouses and just be like, this is my time. And I'm going to just have that time to relax and kind of cater to my skin a bit.
Yeah. I actually, my husband always talk about me. He told me I took 40 minutes taking off my makeup last night. And I was like, excuse me, it was not 40 minutes, but I needed to do all the things.
Yes. I needed my 40 minutes, okay?
Right, right. But I agree with that. Take that self-care, take care of your skin,
Hmm.
yourself, all those things. But it's very therapeutic. Like, and
Yes.
the whole like dermoplane, and even like that needle roller and all of those things. I just don't think you should be doing that at home
No,
at
no.
all. I
Because
know
there's
they
no
carry
way
that
that you
at
are able
store,
to.
but
Yeah, you can't sterilize the implements the way you need to. You don't know how far, especially with the needles, how far you're puncturing the skin. What products are you using? Do they play well with what you're doing to your skin? Because when you're doing that, you are causing a wound. And so the skin has to heal. And that's the purpose of it, of course, because you want those new cells to regenerate so you can get that nice, beautiful skin. But what people don't realize, you end up doing it too much. Things aren't sanitary or sterilized in a professional way, and you're just opening yourself up to problems down the road.
yeah, for sure. I definitely agree with that. For those certain things, see a professional. Go get you a facial,
Yes.
girl. Right.
Treat
Or guy.
yourself.
Yeah, or a guy. Treat yourself for
Yeah.
sure. For sure. So, what are you excited about? Like, we're going into a new season. It's almost fall. Like, what are you excited about? What are you working on anything right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as I mentioned earlier, I am continuing to work and develop what it looks like for me pushing into those schools and just trying to network or grow that network with the schools so that I can come in and be pretty much an education consultant, I guess is what you would refer to it as. So also working on materials so that they can have that to hold on to. I am also working on my first book that I am going to be releasing in December. And so I'm excited
Awesome.
about that. I've done a few like ebooks and things like that. So this first one will highlight more so my transition from what I guess we would call a traditional career field to the beauty industry, which is, it's a career field as well, but just some of the steps I took, but also included some of the lessons. So I tried to make it like an easy read, kind of lighthearted, sharing some things about me and my background, but just really encouraging people, some things to consider if you are going to transition fields, because I feel like a lot of people are changing career fields and there's nothing wrong with that, especially the educators. And so I maybe kind of catered to them a bit more because I came from that background. But yeah, so those are some of the biggest things I'm working on and looking forward to.
Well, that's awesome. Congratulations. I can't wait till the book comes out. We'll have to have you back on and talk about it and to share it with the audience for sure. I think that is phenomenal and everything. And it was just absolutely great catching up with you, Holly. Do you have
Yeah.
anything else you want to share with us? Or like, oh, wait a minute. One thing I want to talk about before we go is the industry. Let's talk about
Yes.
the industry the last few minutes we chat. Like, do you feel like there's been any shifts in the industry? And what advice would you give, people that are currently in the industry that are seeing some of the shifts? Because some people are saying like it's slow, it's harder, it's not the same. And the economy has changed and different things.
I do feel like it's a little bit slower. Heard quite a few people say that I know personally, and just from different people I follow on social media that we would probably consider I look up to them. I've heard some of them mention it as well. I don't know what really the contributing factor is, but again, I think that's when you need to kind of tap into what other skills you have. But it's also a reminder to you to not feel bad or feel like it's just you. With the shift, though, I do think we'll see who's in it for the long haul. And if you do have to step away or leave the field, that's fine. Again, you have to make the choices that are best for you. But I think this will really be, again, when we see that shift, because it's really going to come down to people's work ethic and if they're willing to stay in and do the work, especially even for those who are trying to get into the industry. You're going to have to really prove yourself, and put in the work, because I think people who are hiring us, because they have so much exposure to what we do, because people share so much, they are often a bit more critical of what we do. So I think if you're trying to break into the industry as well, you're going to really have to make sure you show up and put in the work. I think you said what the shifts I'm seeing. What was your other part of your question?
Yeah, and I'm just asking, to give some advice to the people that are out there, and you
Yes.
did just that. Like, those were some great tips.
Okay.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you. Yeah, I think I
yeah.
want to add just another little piece too. I would say stay take care of yourself. honestly, because it is very demanding on us. And so that means mentally, physically, spiritually put things into place. You have it, but it really does make a difference. And I think once you start taking care of yourself and making sure you are chasing the right things, yes, we want to get paid, but make sure you're chasing the right things and doing things with the right mindset and the right heart posture. Everything else is going to fall into place. It really, really will. Take the time to pay attention to what it is that you really or want and what makes you tick, what makes you happy. You know, try different things. Don't be closed off to it. But you'll know what makes you happy and where you should be within your field, because you can tell the difference in how you feel. So I would just say really take care of yourself and pay attention to how you feel with things you're doing, and that will really direct your path.
I love that. What is the biggest lesson you learned on your entrepreneurial journey thus far?
Ooh, it's a lot. One of the biggest lessons I've learned, I think, would be being organized and being honest with myself. So when I say being organized, it makes a difference because when things are chaotic, I feel as if literally I'm drowning. So that could be just maybe my office isn't clean and organized. Being organized with how I keep track of things. You can't just be going and flying by the seat of your pants. You really have to be organized. And when I say being honest with yourself, is being able to realize like when you need help, to tap into people for help, speak up and say something, because as an entrepreneur, we want to do it all. And we feel like we are a superhero, and we are, but a true leader and somebody who truly wants to grow their business and grow as a person and as whatever your brand is, because I feel like we are all a brand. You have to delegate. You have to delegate and ask for help and realize when you can't do it, it's okay. Ask somebody. So that's one of the biggest things for me, being able to just be honest with myself when I need help and be okay with asking for help or delegating.
Awesome, awesome. Well, Holly, it's been great having you back on the podcast to hang out with us today. Tell
Mm,
everybody how they can stay connected with you.
absolutely. So on every social media platform, I am Hollie K. That is HOLLIE K. And so that's Instagram. I'm on TikTok as well. And I'm in the process of trying to work on that YouTube, because I finally said I'm going to go ahead and tap into that YouTube market. So, yes, you can find me there as well soon. And my website is holliek.com. Again, that's HOLLIEK.com. And please connect with me if you are somebody who's looking for services, or even somebody who's in the industry and you want to connect or build that community, or considering going into the industry. I'm not one of those who's going to turn you away for sending me a message in my Instagram or direct messages. I love to talk and connect with people, and I truly mean that. So, yes.
Awesome. Holly K, everybody, all the information will be in the show notes. As always, stay great, and we're out. Bye.
Bye.